Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Perfect World based on novel. So let's start. This dragon eye fruit-sized pill medicine was dark golden in color, carrying a metallic tactile feel, but there was still a bit of a light fragrance. This was rather difficult for one to understand, even after endless time had passed. The pill medicines buried under the ashes still carried a type of spirituality, truly astonishing. Even though a large amount of the medicinal characteristics couldn't help but be lost, the fact that they could still retain these characteristics spoke about how unordinary they were. Could it really be a 9 revolutions immortal pill? Shahao held it in his palm, looking at the patterns on it, the star-shaped marks and indistinct divine birds and vicious beasts figures. Was this even a pill medicine? These designs weren't carved on by someone, right? The great Tao traces are just too distinct, fully displaying all things between heaven and earth. This isn't a 9 revolutions immortal pill, but its effects wouldn't be too inferior. Mo Dao spoke, his eyes becoming bright like 2 divine flames. You recognize it? Shahao turned around. I've previously seen records of it in bone books. When unmatched immortal pills are refined, these types of pills would often be produced along with them. Even though they can't compare to true immortal pills, they are still extremely precious for cultivators, able to help one cast off their old self and undergo a complete change. Shahao nodded when he heard this. If the mysterious immortal pill was destroyed in the refinement process, then the pills that accompanied them wouldn't be able to escape this result either. He put it away, carefully storing it in a jade bottle. During this process, Mo Dao also had some gains, using a white jade container to collect some liquid, the fragrance wafting through the air. They didn't dare waste time. Even though the stone furnace was large, there were too many powerful individuals here. No matter how many good things there were, it still wasn't enough to divide among them all. Fortunately, there was immortal energy pervading through this place, with special natural laws suppressing them. Many divine abilities couldn't be used, and even the heavenly eyes lost effectiveness. It was because this was a precious furnace, its owner considering too many things when refining medicine back then, not allowing others to pry into his methods, establishing inextinguishable restrictions. This was precisely the reason why the pill medicines under the ashes weren't immediately swept clean by this group of people. This stone pill furnace looks like a mountain outside, but when we are inside, it looks even larger than what we have imagined. The perimeter 800 li at least, simply inconceivable. Just what kind of person was the one concocting pills, needing such a large amount of space? A great explosion had happened before in the pill furnace, many things that had spirituality left behind them, all of them various types of accompanying pills. Really wonder what type of great medicine that person back then was trying to refine, leaving behind so much ashes. It doesn't seem like he was refining a pill medicine, but rather the essence of a small world. Someone said with a sigh. Those who entered all had some type of gains, revealing looks of surprise. In a certain area, light rushed into the heavens, brightly colored mists dense. That was the place where medicinal nature gathered, containing strong fragrance. 10 pieces of pill medicine fragments were discovered there, all of them snow-white like jade. At first glance, they looked like fine resin, their surface not having any patterns, but one could still vaguely hear the scripture sounds released from within them. Good stuff. This might be fragments of the main medicine, after the refinement failed. Mo Dao said with shock. There was naturally an intense battle that happened here, the young supreme beings, who had 3 strands of immortal energy duking it out here, strong wind stirring, precious technique clashing. Even Wang Shi used her chaos calming art. Shahao and Mo Dao joined in, fighting over them. What a pity, too much time had passed, the loss of medicinal characteristics too serious. Otherwise, these pill medicine fragments are enough to help one undergo rebirth, continuously shed their body and exchange their bones. These are but pills refined by an immortal. Someone said with an exclaim of admiration. This was something that couldn't be helped. Not much could resist the corrosion of time. However, they all knew that despite this being the case, these snow-white pill fragments were still priceless, able to substantially improve one's body. It was because there were pill medicine masters here who immediately examined their medicinal characteristics. It was to the extent where it wasn't a major issue for one to undergo a full rebirth. However, such precious pill medicine, after exploding in the past, was completely given up on by the furnace's master, not collected. Everyone had reason to believe that the reason why the pill furnace had so many cracks, long half destroyed, might be related to the final pill refinement. After the defeat, not only were the pills defeated, even the furnace itself cracked. Out of the way! Lutuor shouted, clashing again with Mo Dao. Light erupted into the skies between the two, the radiance about to submerge the entire furnace. The one who should leave is you. Shahao shouted, joining their battle. He had nothing to hide now, immediately forming a Kuan-Peng fist when he raised his hand, releasing a strong attack right from the get-go. Hong! The Kuan-Peng could devour heaven and earth, endlessly vast. When Shahao's body unfolded, an indistinct world appeared behind him. An enormous creature appeared, changing from a fish to a bird, swimming through the stellar seas of the cosmos, tearing through endless stellar rivers, and shattering millions and millions of stars. That type of aura was too terrifying, those present were even more so shocked. This was the Kuan-Peng, with a spread of its wings, forget about great seas, not even the cosmos sea could contain it, able to destroy all those in its path. Hong Long Long. Between Shahao and Lutuor, thousands of streaks of divine light erupted, tearing apart the void. The sound was deafening, the divine force waves sending many experts flying. However, they didn't fight to the death, not wishing to waste time. It was because they were fighting over these snow-white pill medicine pieces. Kai. Shahao immediately seized a piece with a raise of his hand. At this moment, 5-colored light radiated, chaotic energy surging. 10 Crown King took action, the small tree in his hand sweeping over. He shouted, "Seal the universe." Chaotic light flashed. Shahao's hand and that pill medicine seemed to be restricted, the world tree's reputation not in vain. Woo! A powerful gale swept about. In front of Shahao's hand, an entirely dark green enormous willow tree that ultimately flickered with bits of golden radiance appeared. He formed a magical imprint, displaying Willow Deity's method, displaying its terrifying profound mysteries. Endless wisps were released from a single fist, the willow tree turning into endless divine chains of order, binding towards that world tree sapling. With a shua sound, Shahao brought away that snow-white piece of pill medicine. At the same time, he sent a fist smashing at 10 Crown King. It was as if stars collided between the two of them. The radiance was blinding, and then immediately afterwards, it was as if heaven and earth were being destroyed, continuously growing dim. A great chaotic battle erupted. The cultivators who cultivated 3 strands of immortal energy competed against each other, fighting over those snow-white medicine pieces. Pu. Xian Kuan coughed out blood, injured in this battle. In reality, after fighting to this extent, these young supreme beings were all bleeding. The chaotic battle was too fierce, fighting whoever they saw, no one backing off. It was to the extent where there was even a cultivator with 2 strands of immortal energy, who wanted to try his luck, but was beaten up in the end, a large amount of bloody mist erupting from his entire body. If not for 4th Elder promptly taking action to protect his primordial spirit, his body and mind would have been destroyed on the spot. With things like this, there were no other cultivators who dared approach half a step. This place became a battlefield only young supreme beings could fight in, becoming a restricted area. Fighting this intense battle left even Shahao in a sorry state, blood flowing from the corners of his mouth, the clothes covering his body in tatters, extremely miserable. Of course, his opponents weren't all that better off, every one of them carrying injuries that weren't light. For example, with a Kai La sound, Shahao directly tore off a large piece of Princess Yao Yu's silk battle clothes, when they were fighting over a snow-white pill medicine fragment. "Shahao, you scoundrel!" Princess Yao Yu cried out in alarm. It was because her jade arm was now completely exposed, and because the piece of cloth that was torn off was a bit large, even some of her snow-white shoulder and back was revealed. One had to bear in mind that this divine silk was incredibly tough, sturdier than many divine gold battle armors, but under the Kuan-Peng claw, it was still destroyed. If not for its protection, Shahao would have likely injured her body. Peng. Shahao suffered an attack from the back. This was a golden imprint, firmly striking him on the back, a type of secret treasure Wang Shi activated. W.A. Shahao coughed out blood. Even though it didn't injure his muscles and bones, his blood and qi were stirred, still receiving a set amount of damage. Did I not deal with you properly enough just now? Shahao roared angrily at Wang Shi, actually being injured from a hidden attack. Hong. Meanwhile, Lu Tuo took action again, producing 108 large hand imprints, sending them smashing towards Shahao. There were millstone-sized large palms everywhere. Kai. Several hundred golden willow branches surged, rushing towards Lu Tuo. Then, Shahao even more so rushed into the air, sending his foot straight at Lu Tuo's chest. Xiao. However, while in the intense confrontation, his body suddenly changed directions, instantly disappearing from his original location, attacking towards Wang Shi, who attacked with her precious artifact again. Human figures flew about, young supreme experts fighting for supremacy. Peng. Eventually, Shahao's palm smashed into Wang Shi's chest, shattering the divine gold armor there, the heart-protecting precious mirror even more so directly exploding. Wang Shi coughed out large amounts of blood, flying outwards. She was humiliated and furious. A palm imprint appeared on her body, the imprint too clear. Lu Tuo, hand over your life. Shahao roared angrily, rushing into the sky again. Lightning surged around his entire body, hands forming imprints, as if he was stirring the sun, moon, and stars as he moved. There was electricity all around him, forming a seal of cosmos, constructing the heavenly stars. Stellar rivers emerged one after another, all of them shining resplendently. Hong. Heavenly thunder crashed down, stars formed from lightning exploding one after another, drowning out the area Lu Tuo was at. Shahao took action again, fighting an intense battle against him. Also, you, 10-crown king, do you really think the dragon fist is unmatched? Shahao slaughtered his way to the east, and then fought to the west, continuously exchanging attacks, his black hair flying about chaotically, eyes releasing lightning-like radiance. He was like an unmatched war god. In the end, this battle finally concluded. The young supreme beings were all injured, blood dyeing their battle clothes. Shahao obtained 3 pieces of snow-white pill medicine fragments. This could be considered a rewarding journey, his benefits tremendous. When they returned, everyone immediately went into isolation, using the pill medicines they obtained to treat their injuries. When a piece of snow-white pill medicine was dissolved in a cauldron with a fragrant divine spring, Shahao entered inside to refine his body. The effects were astonishing. The immortal Tao aura was absorbed, the divine essence entering his body. Then, a bit of black-colored impurity was expelled from his body's pores. At this moment, Shahao felt like his body was light and his body strong, his body becoming quite a bit more agile, as if he now really did have this immortal Tao aura. This is just too crazy. He couldn't help but sigh, because there was a layer of black matter that was removed from his body. Just how filthy was his body for this type of thing to happen? There is no need to think too much. It is because this is the first time you have tried to operate the White Jade Mountain's characters and Tao methods, and then used the corresponding immortal ancient pill medicine, which is why the effects were extremely great, having this unordinary transformation. From a certain perspective, this is the first time you cultivated and used an immortal ancient method, which resulted in this first transformation, the effects of it naturally extraordinary. Shahao still had 2 pieces of snow-white pill medicine fragments in his hand. He lowered his head, not knowing what other types of changes they could bring. Fourth Elder's explanation helped Shahao understand a lot more, feeling as if he was relieved from a burden. Meanwhile, he still had 2 more immortal pill fragments in hand, so he naturally couldn't waste them. Right now, everyone was in seclusion just like him, even the foreign guest Mo Dao, using the pill medicine he obtained to cleanse his body. After releasing a sigh, Shahao began to cultivate calmly, having his body and mind become clear. Then, he prepared a bone cauldron and divine spring again, dissolving the second piece of snow-white pill medicine fragment. Faint spiritual energy rose, sweet fragrance wafting out, making one want to take a few sips. Shahao undressed, and then entered this large cauldron again to refine his body and soul, temper his flesh and bones, allow his body to undergo further mysterious transformations. After hearing Fourth Elder and the others' advice, he didn't directly eat the pill medicine, because endless time had passed after all. So if there was some toxic effects, it wouldn't be easy to deal with them. He directly soaked in the medicinal liquid, the immortal Tao matter that could be used acquired through mysterious arts, not needing to worry about any toxins entering his body. The medicinal liquid in the cauldron boiled. Shahao's skin began to shine, the injuries he had before starting to close, long recovered from. His flesh became more and more brilliant under the medicinal nature's effects. When one looked from not far away, his body looked like it was carved from platinum, possessing a type of brilliant splendor, containing explosive power. Shahao closed his eyes, breathing deeply. Medicinal fragrance wafted out, rising up from the watery mist, but it didn't spread into the distance. In the end, all of the spiritual essence entered his body. Moreover, wisps of ash-white mists surged in his body, exchanging with the essence of the medicinal liquid. It truly is strange. I cultivated the present world methods, flesh already becoming near perfect, not having any filthiness left. So how can it be that as soon as I came into contact with immortal ancients' millions of symbols, there were some impurities released? Shahao was confused. Could it be that immortal ancient methods far surpassed present world methods? He shook his head, this shouldn't be the case. Previously, Fourth Elder already explained it quite clearly. It should just be the effects of the ancient pill together with the immortal ancient method that led to such miraculous results. He thought silently to himself, carefully analyzing what was happening. Even though Shahao didn't truly cultivate immortal ancient methods, only achieving initial success from the profound meanings contained within the characters, he still already understood that the cultivation systems were different, the methods in which they opened up one's inner treasury different. So the areas where the emphasis was placed on were naturally different as well. That was why even though the present world method looked like it was cultivated to the limit, the body seemingly perfect, in the eyes of immortal ancient, there were still many areas of his body's potential that weren't fully unlocked. Meanwhile, this reasoning was similarly applicable to the immortal ancient method. Even if one cultivated the mysterious techniques from the last great era to their peak, seemingly perfect, if one examined them from the perspectives of the current world, their body's potential might not necessarily be fully released. Precisely because of this, when the cultivation method was changed, only then would there be a bit of impurity eliminated. It was because for this type of method, there was still room for improvement. When the second snow-white immortal pill was mostly absorbed, Shahao's body once again felt more flexible, and his spiritual senses became sharper as well. This was a type of clear evolution. However, there were no improvements to his divine force, merely his body becoming more and more nimble, giving him a feeling of great aloofness, as if he was an immortal that was exiled into the human world. Soon afterwards, the second immortal pill fragment's medicinal effects were completely absorbed. Shahao didn't stop. He inserted the final snow-white immortal pill fragment into the cauldron, starting to refine his body again. His body was still changing, but it wasn't as obvious, only slight transformations. After he absorbed most of the medicinal characteristics, the changes completely stopped, as if they lost effects. This type of medicine isn't too useful for me anymore. Its use for me in this realm has already reached its limit. Shahao came to this conclusion. It was quite regretful. This immortal pill fragment had been buried in ashes for too long, the medicinal characteristics essence loss severe. Otherwise, the medicinal strength would be many times greater than it was right now. Shahao shook his head. That was an unmatched great medicine refined by immortal Tao experts, so if it wasn't damaged, he wouldn't be able to use it at all, because the medicinal effects would likely make him explode on the spot. After all, he was still only in the holy sacrifice realm. Shahao didn't waste any time, circulating the immortal ancient characters' Tao principles, absorbing and cultivating, taking in the last of the medicinal strength. Yi? He was shocked. His body and divine senses sensed a clear change, and the 3 strands of immortal energy were nourished, one strand even seeming like it was going to form a flower. One had to bear in mind that Shahao already had 2 great Tao flowers, still missing one. Continue the seclusion. Shahao said firmly. It was because he still had some medicines on him, for example, the pill that was produced along with the immortal pills. It was dark golden in color, on its surface stellar patterns and other things, likely not much inferior to the snow-white pill medicine fragments. Sure enough, there was an astonishing refinement carried out. The dark golden liquid surged in the cauldron, submerging Shahao within. Shahao's third strand of immortal energy continuously condensed, at times turning into a dragon, other times into a divine bird. It appeared above his head, mysterious and unfathomable. In the end, the immortal energy became thicker and stronger, forming a flower. Sure enough, after obtaining immortal ancient great era's precious medicine's nourishment, and activating the profound mysteries stored in immortal ancient characters, the immortal energy, he had underwent a transformation. If one wants to cultivate immortal energy, it really is immortal ancient method that is best, this way the most suitable. Shahao said with a sigh. He thought about the corresponding immortal ancient scriptures, his mind immediately burning with excitement. Only after being able to recognize and understand the million characters can he carry out further research and evolution. In the end, Shahao used up all of the ancient pills he obtained. Dragon roars and phoenix cries sounded above his head, the scene astonishing. Whose area of seclusion is that? Why is the disturbance so great? Heavens, stellar streams are interweaving, submerging that area. In the distance, many people were alarmed, because the disturbance Shahao's place of seclusion produced was too great, all types of irregular scenes appearing there. It continuously changed. Sometimes stellar streams would fill the skies, sometimes golden lotuses covered the earth, true dragons soaring, phoenix birds spreading their wings. Whenever an irregular phenomenon appeared, it would always signify that an exceptional expert was about to emerge, rising into the heavenly deity realm, but there were immediately so many irregular scenes, leaving one's eyes dazzled. There are too many irregular scenes, this person is just too powerful. Who is he? How can he be this astonishing? Huang, that is his place of seclusion. Cries of alarm sounded one after another. After they realized who it was, their expressions all changed. This youth was clearly becoming more and more powerful. Wang she came out from seclusion. Her beautiful hair fluttered about, a complicated expression appearing in her eyes. A small black sword appeared from her forehead, the unmatched sword core of the chaos calming art. She really wanted to take action, go out and fight, but in the end, she remained silent. She experienced her first defeat not long ago, something that was hard for her to free herself from. She knew that she couldn't challenge the other person immediately, because it was too difficult for her to win. Only when her primordial spirit completely formed an unmatched sword core would she become unmatched. She had confidence that once the sword core was fully cultivated, it could kill all enemies, not even Huang able to withstand it. It was because this was one of the 3 most powerful sword arts. This meant that once she achieved great success with chaos calming art, one of the most powerful offensive precious techniques, the sword core would hack through everything, able to erase all enemies. Lu Tuo also came out from seclusion, currently gazing into the distance, the light in his eyes fluctuating continuously. A layer of clear energy rose around his body, covering him, making him appear a bit indistinct. 10 Crown King's eyes contracted. He stood on a mountain peak, staring in that direction, nodding as he muttered to himself, acknowledging that this was a worthy opponent. This fella is becoming stronger and stronger, really a freak. Princess Yao Yu said to herself. She was surrounded by a sphere of moonlight, clean and pure, teeth bright, lips bright red, currently thinking to herself if there was any good way of roping Huang into her family, having him become a powerful assistance for the imperial court. Stellar rivers fell, true dragons moved about, phoenix birds underwent rebirth, all of the irregular scenes disappeared. Meanwhile, in that mountain region, primal chaos swirled about Shahao. There was an even more astonishing scene that took place above his head, the 3rd strand of immortal energy condensing into a flower bud, blooming at this moment. In that instant auspicious light flourished, immortal multicolored light overflowed, sweeping through the heavens above and earth below. This flower bloomed, immediately brightening up the world. After waiting for such a long time, he finally cultivated this result. Shahao's third strand of immortal energy was taking form, producing a great Dao flower, now fully blooming. Hong Long. Shahao was surrounded within a milky white bubble. It was extremely suddenly, covering him from head to toe, completely submerging him within. He then felt extremely light and carefree, as if he was going to sprout wings and ascend. Success. Shahao formed 3 great Dao flowers at this moment, already reaching a perfect level. This was originally something that could only be completed while in the heavenly deity realm, but he already accomplished it while in the holy sacrifice realm. He definitely couldn't delay staying in holy sacrifice realm any longer. At this moment, his body shone, every inch of his flesh surging with auspicious multicolored light, immediately advancing to heavenly deity realm. Shahao was now a true heavenly deity, able to look down on all of his peers. It was because right now, he was only a bit over 20, still extremely young. From his bone structures, he really is too young, able to reach the heavenly deity realm at this age. Calling it unprecedented might not be too far from the truth. Has the youngest heavenly deity in history emerged? Huang is unordinary after all, becoming the youngest and most powerful heavenly deity. A few elders and competitors couldn't help but sigh with astonishment in the academy. This type of feeling really is great. Shahao opened his eyes, strand after strand of golden light released, as if the dense fog in the darkness opened up, 2 streaks of the most dazzling lightning appearing in the night sky. He didn't move at all, still sitting there, feeling that type of carefreeness. This was a completely new experience. His flesh and divine senses condensed together, exceptionally sharp, intertwining with immortal energy. His entire body seemed to have become much more light and flexible. He was like a rusted sharp weapon that was carefully polished, the contamination that had accumulated over the years eliminated, the rust completely removed. Dazzling brilliance was released, exquisite and agile. This was Shahao's direct observation. His entire body being had a clear feeling, his bones well proportioned and sparkling, as if he really had removed a layer of rust, becoming fresh and full of energy. Sure enough, there was quite a bit of grey-colored impurity on the surface of his body, eliminated from his body when he rose to the heavenly deity level. One could vaguely make out a bit of bone fragments. Shahao stood up, stretching out his body. He then tested his strength out, a streak of electricity emerging here, so fast its shadow couldn't be seen as it merged with the void. It wasn't a misconception, his body felt incredibly agile, truly like a rust-covered ancient sword that had been polished again, revealing its original sharpness and brilliance. At the same time, this was true for his divine sense as well, as if it had undergone a rebirth, becoming more and more sharp. Shahao tested his strength, discovering that his attack power and speed both became a level stronger. Was this the heavenly deity realm? Shahao slowly comprehended, adapting to his present state. He felt a wave of joy inside, a happiness one felt through improvement. He had become stronger. Holy sacrifice realm was quite unstable, one's strength fluctuating from strong to weak. When he was strong, he was comparable to a heavenly deity, when he was weak, he was below even a true deity. In reality, many people would fail in this realm, ultimately becoming people who were inferior to even those at the divine flame realm. Meanwhile, Shahao cultivated 3 strands of immortal energy, only suffering the fluctuation of strength in the beginning, later on pretty much stabilizing, not suffering any troubles. Moreover, this was precisely the reason why his strength gradually consolidated, everything eventually going smoothly, reaching the heavenly deity realm. Even though my strength has improved, it isn't as great as I had imagined. Shahao frowned. In the past, each time he broke through, his strength would increase drastically. The increase in strength this time wasn't that powerful. Even though he knew that normally, holy sacrifice realm and heavenly deity realm's strength wouldn't be that different, because when he was in that cultivation stage, his strength fluctuated between high and low, already experiencing the power of the heavenly deity level. Those who cultivated 3 strands of immortal energy were different. They definitely had to have some growth. It seems like it is because I didn't face tribulation. After thinking things over seriously, Shahao knew what was going on. However, this wasn't the time to cross tribulation, because ever since he entered Heavenly Deity Institution, ascending onto this path of cultivating the ancient methods, he already obtained quite a bit of information. This cultivation realm was extremely important, he couldn't show the slightest bit of negligence. In reality, Wang Shi, Lu Tuo, and the others hadn't crossed tribulation either. Even though they entered the heavenly deity realm, they were merely consolidating their foundation. It was because after cultivating the ancient method, the most important thing was merging with the immortal seed. Anyone who took this path needed to find a seed of their own, and then from this day forth, they would have to grow and evolve together, ultimately forming the Tao and become the most powerful. In the last great era, cultivating the ancient method always began with trying to merge with the seed, so there were naturally no issues. However, they were essentially switching to a job they weren't trained for, not finding their own immortal seeds before, missing the best chance before. Even though life has its extreme situations, there was still a trace of opportunity that could remedy the situation, let alone the fact that on the road of cultivation, there were naturally ways to fix this. Of course, this was on the premise that one had to exceed certain circumstances, or else everything was too late. When one cultivated 3 strands of immortal energy, forming great Tao flowers, before any more immortal energy entered the body and carried out a final transformation, there was a way to remedy the situation and merge with the immortal seed. The cleansing of the body through lightning, sending electricity hacking down on the body, this was the most fundamental part of merging with the immortal seed. Everyone was waiting for an opportunity, waiting for the Academy's elders to lead the way, and bring them to that realm tomb, so that they can obtain an exceptional immortal seed and take that crucial step. The current Shahao was finally part of this group, just waiting for the opportunity to arrive. Wu, strength still increased somewhat. If I am surrounded by enemies again, it'll probably be much easier now. Shahao said to himself, a powerful wave of confidence surging. Of course, his greatest reward was that his body now felt incredibly clear and agile. While standing there, he almost felt like he was floating, his flesh and divine senses incredibly sharp, as if he could detect danger beforehand. His figure was tall and slender with immortal energy swirling about, as if he was an aloof true immortal from the immortal domain, the heir of an immortal king that descended into the mortal world, transcending above, untainted by a speck of dust. Right now, even if he stood together with Yao Yu, Wang Shi, these types of fairies, everyone would feel like he would be similarly extraordinary, far above the common populace. A single thought from Shahao would make the 3 strands of immortal energy undergo all types of changes, having perfect command over them. Now, the immortal energy had already become a part of him. The 3 great immortal Tao flowers bloomed above his head, rising and falling together, Tao to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to all things. This was a type of extreme embodiment that contained true meaning. Only, the 3 great Tao flowers were different. Shahao released a light sigh, feeling a bit of regret. A creature was seated on the first great Tao flower, immortal mists covering its body. It looked extremely indistinct, as if it was from the past, subduing endless years of changes, seated above an entire segment of ancient history. Meanwhile, as for the other 2 great Tao flowers, there were no figures on them. There were only strands of immortal energy rising from them and the natural laws of the heavens faintly discernible. There will be a chance to cultivate them in the end. When that time comes, there will definitely be a completely new experience, and I should be able to become even stronger. Shahao said to himself. He didn't know what level he would reach when the other 2 great flowers produced creatures as well. When peace was restored to this place, all probing eyes withdrew, heavenly wise disappearing. Shahao had his hands behind his back. He arrived before a white jade mountain, starting to observe the million symbols on its surface again, carefully studying and comprehending it. He discovered with shock that his speed was now faster, the efficiency a bit higher than before. If one wanted to study immortal ancient methods, complying with immortal ancient path was still best after all. Immortal energy merged, precious pills refining the body, strength advancing vigorously, all of these could affect one's cultivation in the future. When he emerged from seclusion, there were already quite some people who returned to the White Jade Mountain. A few more people came, standing before the White Jade Mountain to study it. At this stage, not many people dared to provoke Shahao. Even if they bore hostility, they could only endure it, because the current Huang wasn't someone normal people could provoke. In that stone furnace, he participated in the great battle, obtaining 3 snow-white and sparkling immortal pill fragments alone, even more so taking action to capture Wang Shi even after she used the chaos-calming art, leaving everyone shocked. Right now, everyone who cultivated the ancient methods were in the sealed ruins, so those on this path all knew about this matter. They were incredibly alarmed, the respect they felt for him increased greatly. Brother Shi. Princess Yao Yu called out to him with a giggle, her smile able to topple cities. Her dark black hair scattered down, eyes clear like autumn limpid waters, truly an outstanding beauty. Now, perhaps only those who cultivated 3 strands of immortal energy dared to walk with him. Those who weren't familiar with him didn't dare rashly approach. Princess Yao Yu enthusiastically invited him over, saying, "My promise is still in effect, you know. If you ever bring that Wang family girl over, we will definitely treat you with the highest level of courtesy. Of course, even if you don't bring any gifts, we will still similarly welcome you, definitely wouldn't do something so arrogant as pushing out a young supreme being from our gates." Everyone was stupefied, no one daring to add any comments. Treating Wang Shi as a gift was something perhaps only she would do, actually mocking the Wang family like this. Sounds good. Shahao laughed loudly, not being embarrassed at all. Fortunately, Wang Shi had just left her seclusion cultivation, not hurrying over, or else she would feel downcast again. Shahao. Qingyi walked over, her quiet and elegant face carrying a gentle smile. She had just emerged from seclusion, immediately hurrying over. Shahao smiled. Even though he had long entered Heavenly Deity institution, only now could they be considered to have truly united, having a chance to chat. He welcomed her, about to grab that slender jade hand without any trace of politeness. However, Qingyi moved her body to the side, moving out of the way. Yu Chan appeared in a different direction, her figure wonderful, white long dress dragging on the ground, her body swaying as she arrived, beautiful and otherworldly, as if an exiled fairy was walking in this world. "Hey, little girl, it's been a while." Shahao also called out to her. Many people were stunned, the expressions on their faces extremely brilliant. This fella was acquainted with that exceptional beauty. Wasn't he acting too frivolously? Everyone felt like it was strange. He was a young supreme being who could look down on all of his peers, so how could he speak like this? Similarly, there was originally a faint smile on Yu Chan's beautiful and perfect face, but now, it immediately fell. Part 1 end here.